The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? All rise. Cinema IRL is now in session. The Honourable Amber and less than Honourable Scott presiding. On today's docket, Nazis, after watching Nuremberg. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
Nazis, am I right?
Oh, gosh. I was hoping you wouldn't have a joke for this episode.
And that concludes the humor for this episode.
Yeah, I hope so. Alrighty, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Cinema IRL, where this time we are discussing the film Nuremberg. Nuremberg chronicles the true story of the trials held by the Allies against the defeated Nazi regime. The film centers on American psychiatrist Douglas Kelly, who is tasked with determining whether Nazi prisoners are fit to stand trial for their war crimes. Yeah, this is heavy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I know I've mentioned this to you before here, but in my opinion, the Nuremberg trials were a dog and pony show. That was it. Like, they knew exactly what they were going to do. They knew how they were going to be found. It was, I mean, you could say it was doing it the right way-ish, but like, there's never a question whether or not these guys were going to be set free. Like, they were all going to be executed.
It sounded like the politicians and leaders in office wanted to appear that they were checking all the boxes and going according to the terms and the expectations, but really knowing what the final result would be regardless.
Yeah, I mean,
because again,
these guys committed
Nazi
some
leaders.
of the most heinous crimes against humanity.
Yeah. And it's so frightening to think that, you know, even right now, how recent this is in the history of the world. Like, this was less than 70 years ago that this happened. And to think that within...
Actually, I know you don't like it when I fact check you, but it was about 80 years ago at this point.
Okay.
79 if we're being very specific.
Okay.
But yes, still, like, under a century. I don't have any jokes here.
Well, I should hope not. So obviously, if we're just looking at the surface level of the film here, there's not a lot of what would you do's. Don't murder people. Don't try to exterminate a race of people or any groups of people. Do not do that to people under any circumstance. But there are some things to explore when we look at the relationship between the psychiatrist, Doug Kelly, and Herman Goering, yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's where our what would you do's certainly are going to lie in this case, because, I mean, you've got the guy who was second in command. I mean, he was only behind Hitler.
Yeah, and Hitler killed himself, and now Goering is the highest-ranking surviving officer in the Nazi regime. And we have Dr. Kelly, who's come in, who is supposed to be spending time with the prisoners, assessing their mental capacity to stand trial, but also to learn about them. And Dr. Kelly takes this very seriously because, number one, he's curious. Number two, he wants to write a book. And what an amazing opportunity for someone who is a psychiatrist in that day and age to actually see how people tick who could execute people to this degree and commit such heinous crimes.
Yeah. I mean, I assure you, from the military point of view, they didn't give two shits whether or not they were mentally fit to stand trial.
Oh, yeah.
At all. Now, as a psychiatrist, you still are going to be. And I'm sure, yes, a psychiatrist can tell you if somebody is quote unquote crazy or not.
It's
But
about a perception of going through checking the boxes.
I also believe that you can mostly, as a layman, look at somebody and go, yeah, they're nuts or they're not. So I'm sure people have already looked at them and said, yeah, these guys, they're horrible people, but they would be clinically sane. So knowing that they'll pass that test, bring in the guy who's supposed to be official on that. But yeah, I mean, really more than anything, it seemed more like a fact-finding mission of determining what did they know and how could they make the case against them convincing.
So the first what would you do that I think is worth exploring is Dr. Kelly, it appears like he is forging some sort of relationship with Herman. And in that relationship, they create this situation where Dr. Kelly is delivering letters to Goring's wife and daughter.
Yeah.
And then winds up visiting the wife and daughter frequently, trading letters back and forth. What would you do in a situation like that, or in a situation like the translator who had initially been taking Dr. Kelly back and forth to the family, and then Dr. Kelly just started going a lot on his own and then cut out the translator, I guess, to minimize anyone's awareness of how frequently he was going.
Yeah, I mean, really, he mentioned about being a spy, and I think that's actually a pretty good explanation of truly what he was.
Dr.
The
Kelly?
doctor was. Yeah. And sometimes you need to go really undercover even from your own people. Like, you need to be like, I have a job to do. I'm going to do that job. And if I think the people around me are getting in my way, I'm going to go around those people to do it. So, yeah, sure, they probably wouldn't have liked the idea of letters going back and forth, but also, like, I'm sure that he was reading all of those letters.
Oh, yeah.
And could tell, like, yes, this letter is perfectly fine. There's no true information being passed here or anything, or red alert. And I think it really was, like, on a human level, and not that the Nazis deserved humanity.
Because they did not.
Because they did not. But on a human level, he's still going to be concerned about his wife and daughter, Goering.
Yeah.
Is. Like,
well, and I think part of those letters going back and forth is it does allow Dr. Kelly to get some insight. Is Goring's hatred, is Goring's absolute just, I don't even know the right word for it, to be able to do those things, does that translate to other relationships? And so I would imagine if you saw how someone like that interacted with different people in different contexts, you know, is he a loving husband? Is he a caring and nurturing dad? That gives you some insight as to that person and how they think as well.
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is I actually believe the assertion that Dr. Kelly came to, that Goering didn't give two shits about killing the Jews. Like, that wasn't his goal. Now, it might have been Hitler's goal, but all he wanted was a strengthened, unified Germany. And this was the plan basically put forth to get that. And you become complicit by just not saying no.
And that actually relates really well to our other episode. If you haven't listened to it, folks, check out Anniversary, because that also is about, you know, people going along, not saying anything, and having this massive change under the category of a unified country. Yeah. And what that can look like. So check out Anniversary.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, I know we generally stay away from politics on this show, but there's really no good way to stay away from politics on this one. In that people want to say that what's happening here in America these days is just normal and it's okay. But if you really, really watch this movie, and you really study 1930s, even 1920s, 1930s, 1940s Germany, and the rise of Hitler and the things that happened to allow him to become who he was. Guys, there's a lot of that same stuff that is happening now, right now.
Well,
we're not 1939 invade Poland, but
it's under that same umbrella. If you tell a lie enough, people start to believe you.
yeah, it really
And
is.
that was foundational for what happened during the Holocaust.
Yeah, I mean, for here it's not Jews, it's foreigners. Now they're not rounding them up and putting them in concentration camps, but
And we're all foreigners except for the Native
Well, yeah.
Americans here in America.
I mean, but when you consider the alligator Alcatraz, where they hold these people, like they're not executing them, but it's not exactly humane conditions. It's very scary, the similarities, and I pray, I'm not a religious man at all, but I pray that we never get to that point. But I have my concerns.
So let's get back to some what would you do's in the film. So as Dr. Kelly has started forming this relationship with the wife and the daughter, he goes to check on them one time to go and visit, and they are gone. What would you do if you were Dr. Kelly and you have determined now that these people that have this connection to obviously the man on trial have disappeared, and you've formed some sort of relationship with them?
I mean, I think he did the right thing by basically bullshitting Goring about their well-being, because he obviously doesn't know their well-being at that point.
Well, I mean, that's jumping ahead a little bit. What I'm talking about is when he actually realizes they're not there, and their furniture is in front of the house, and they are nowhere to be found. What would you do? Would you try to find them? Would you just accept that something happened? Would you try to advocate for them?
You're not going to be able to just try to find them. They clearly were taken by military forces. But it does make you start to say, like, two wrongs don't make a right.
Well, and that goes to the point that you just jumped ahead about, which makes perfect sense to talk about now, is the next visit that Dr. Kelly has with Goring. Goring asks about his set of letters and, how his daughter is. And Dr. Kelly doesn't say that anything's wrong, doesn't say that they've been taken. And he says, oh, no letters this time, and your daughter plays beautifully. And shortly after that, the other psychiatrist
Gilbert,
or psychologist comes in and tells him the truth. So what would you do in that case if you were Kelly, where this person, this very bad person, now is coming to you with these questions and you having this knowledge? Would you try to shelter this bad man from upsetting news, or would you tell him?
Listen, even if you're somebody's advocate, you don't want to be the one that tells them, oh, by the way, your wife and daughter have been imprisoned.
But why? I'm not
because
saying
you're
one way or
American,
another, but
you're going to be seen as part of the Americans, and I mean, it's going to upset him. I mean, it's going to upset Goring massively, and any amount of openness that Dr. Kelly was getting because of the relationship he's formed was going to be lost. And it wasn't even necessarily because Goring lost trust in Dr. Kelly. He's just going to be in a really bad emotional place at that point.
Well, and unfortunately, that decision winds up backfiring on Dr. Kelly once he is then outed as having lied to him. So any bad thing, and I'm putting air quotes in here, that could have happened regarding Goring's feelings about Kelly have quadrupled because now he told him a lie.
Well, at that point, you can't trust him. I mean, like, you've straight up lied about it, and you've been caught in the lie. I mean, Dr. Gilbert, I mean, it's not like they had a powwow going into this, though. On a what would you do situation, you should have had a powwow. You should have said, "Hey, listen."
I don't think we're allowed to say powwow anymore.
Oh, am I going to get canceled for saying powwow?
Maybe. Okay. Anyway, continue.
Have a conference with the other doctor and say, "Hey, we need to be on the same page here on this, so that one of us isn't telling him one thing and the other one's telling him the other thing." This guy's being cooperative, and part of the reason he's being cooperative is because he knows his wife and daughter are safe. We need him to continue to think his wife and daughter are safe.
So,
and then you as Dr. Kelly can then work behind the scenes to actually try to make sure the wife and daughter are safe.
Yeah, which he does. He does do. Now, let's jump forward a little bit here to the ending, which hopefully most of us listening know is that these people were ultimately hung, but Goring himself killed himself with a cyanide pill. And
well, he said he guaranteed he was going to escape the hangman's noose, and he did.
He did. What would you do if you were in a situation that you knew death was coming like that?
I mean, do I have access to a cyanide pill?
No.
Oh.
I mean,
do I have access to a necktie?
No. And the thing that was interesting about this, which makes perfect sense, is they didn't tell them what was happening. They didn't give the prisoners the timeline, so they wouldn't do things like that. They wouldn't look for a tie or a pill. They wanted to be able to bring about justice on their own terms.
But they had,
and so
they had to know internally that.
But it was within hours of that same night of the hearing that they woke them up at 11:45 or something.
But those the prisoners have to know, like, you've been sentenced to hang at this point. It doesn't matter if it's going to happen. I mean, you're imprisoned. You have no quality of life. It doesn't matter if it's happening in a day or a week.
Well, it kind of does. I mean, can you imagine the anxiety of every day thinking like any minute you're going to be drug out?
Oh, no. I mean, if I have the ability to off myself, I'm going to.
Okay. So what would you do is you'd beat him to the punch.
Yeah. I mean, because also, if you're putting yourself in Goring's or any of their other shoes, you don't want to give them the satisfaction.
Yeah, that was my next question. Are you doing it because you're afraid and you want to control the variables there, or are you doing it as a final screw you of you're not going to take me out, I'm going to take myself out?
Both. It's definitely both.
Because hanging, wow, that is a gruesome way to go.
I mean, the truth is hanging's actually not that gruesome.
I mean, firing squad is obviously worse, but I just mean that sometimes people's necks don't break and you lay there and swinging back and forth.
If it's done correctly.
I guess you don't lay there.
Where there's like a large, like, I don't know if you ever saw any of the footage of like Saddam Hussein being hung. That was a drop. I mean, that was like a 6 or 7 foot drop. He did. You're not going to break. When you're talking like a 2 or 3 foot drop, yeah, it might not. So
yeah, I don't know if they were skimping on the set for the hangings, but that setup did not look very impressive.
Well,
like how far someone's going to drop.
I don't know if you needed flashing lights for hang here and a sign
I
hang
didn't mean
here.
Decorations. I just meant that the drop itself was not very impressive.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just, they had a lot of people to get through. Just hang them and move on.
Okay, I don't want to end on that. Why are you looking at me?
Yeah, I
don't
know.
want to end on that. That said, I'm not really sure how we end.
But no, I mean, listen, if I'm Goring and I know there's a cyanide pill, I'm 1,000,000% taking it. Now I don't actually know what happens to your body when you like die of cyanide poisoning. Well, you obviously die.
Yeah.
But the question is how excruciating of a death is it? Because the truth is, if your neck breaks from a hanging, it's basically instantaneous. Yeah, you have anxiety, but like, and you've mentioned firing squad being bad. I mean, if you've got, do you know how a firing squad typically works?
I do. They give some people blanks, so nobody really knows who killed the person.
Yeah, there's one person that has a real bullet. Everyone else has blanks. You all fire that way. There's no way.
Yeah.
But they're all going to be trained shooters.
Yeah.
Firing at a stationary target.
Yeah, I mean, that's about as humane as you can get for the people who are supposed to follow through with executions.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna hit and you're gonna go right through the heart and you're just dead. So, I mean, I see it as, cyanide might have actually been the more cruel way to go in a way, but I can't say that I know how death by cyanide works.
I think I'm glad.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a fun fact that anyone really needs to have.
But, I mean, it is a thing that high-ranking officials in war do generally keep, or even lower-ranking officials often will have suicide pills on them.
Yeah, I was mentioning that to you as we were walking out of the film, is sometimes it's in jewelry, it's in necklaces or rings, that there's a little thing that opens up that hides a pill.
Yeah, and the main reason is if you're captured so they can't interrogate you.
Right.
So, it's kind of an FU, but at that point the interrogation was irrelevant. Yeah, no, I'm just going to lay here and take a pill.
So I don't find that we're going to have an easy way to end this episode. We cannot end in your typical joke or anything like that. So I guess I'm just going to remind people to be kind, be accepting, understand we're all different, but we're all just here trying to live our lives and enjoy our families and breathe the air and just be nice to each other.
And don't kill people.
Really? That's how you're going to... I was done. Why did you have to do that?
Well, I think it's important to not kill people.
Okay.
Oh, bye!
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.